You know that person who's 35 but still acts like they're 15? There's actually a psychological reason why some people get stuck in mental childhood forever. What if I told you that growing older doesn't automatically mean growing up? Today, we're diving deep into why some adults never really mature, the hidden psychology behind it, and how to spot these forever teenagers in your own life. By the end of this video, you'll understand the real difference between aging and actually becoming an adult. Let me tell you about Sarah. She's 42, has 2 kids, a mortgage, and a career in marketing. Sounds pretty grown up, right? But here's the thing. Whenever something goes wrong in her life, she immediately calls her mom to fix it. When her boss gives her feedback, she throws a tantrum like a toddler. And when her friends don't agree with her, she gives them the silent treatment for weeks. Sarah isn't alone. Psychology research shows that emotional maturity and chronological age are 2 completely different things. Dr. Meg J., a clinical psychologist, found that many people today are experiencing what she calls emerging adulthood, well into their 40s and 50s. They're physically adults but emotionally stuck in adolescence. So what exactly does it mean to never grow up? It's not about enjoying cartoons or playing video games. Real emotional immaturity shows up in specific ways. These adults can't handle criticism without falling apart. They blame everyone else for their problems. They make impulsive decisions without thinking about consequences. They expect other people to take care of their responsibilities. And they have explosive emotional reactions that would be normal for a 5-year-old but are pretty shocking coming from a 3-5-year-old. The scary part? This pattern is becoming more common. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that emotional maturity levels have actually decreased over the past 30 years. More adults today show signs of narcissistic behavior, poor impulse control, and inability to handle stress compared to previous generations. But here's where it gets really interesting. These forever children weren't born this way. Something happened during their development that froze them in time. The biggest culprit? Overprotective parenting. When parents constantly rescue their kids from every small problem, those kids never learn how to handle challenges on their own. They become what psychologists call failure to launch adults. Their parents paid for everything, made all their decisions, and solved all their problems. So when real life hits, they have no idea how to cope. Take my friend Jake. His mum still does his laundry at 28. She calls his boss when he's sick. She even broke up with his girlfriend for him once because he didn't want to have an awkward conversation. Jake makes good money as a software engineer, but emotionally he's still 12 years old, waiting for mommy to fix everything. Then there's trauma. When someone experiences serious emotional trauma as a child, their emotional development can literally get stuck at that age. It's like their brain hits the pause button on growing up. A 40-year-old who was traumatized at age 8 might still react to stress the same way they did as a child. Social media isn't helping either. Platforms like Instagram and TikTok reward childish behavior. The more dramatic, impulsive, and attention-seeking you are, the more likes you get. This creates adults who never learn that real life doesn't revolve around getting constant validation from strangers. Here's something that might blow your mind. The human brain doesn't fully develop until age 25. The prefrontal cortex, which controls decision-making and impulse control, is literally still growing during your early 20s. But some people seem to stop developing right there. They get comfortable with their teenage-level coping skills and never push themselves to grow further. You can spot these emotional children everywhere once you know what to look for. They're the co-workers who can't take feedback without crying or getting angry. They're the friends who always have drama following them around. They're the family members who still expect everyone else to clean up their messes. But here's the thing that really gets me. Society often enables this behavior. We make excuses for adults who act like children. We say things like, "That's just how they are," or They had a tough childhood. While trauma and difficult backgrounds are real, using them as permanent excuses for poor behavior doesn't help anyone grow. The most frustrating part? These forever children often don't see the problem. They genuinely believe everyone else is the issue. When their relationships fail, it's because other people are too sensitive. When they get fired, it's because their boss was unfair. When they can't pay their bills, it's because life is hard. They've developed what psychologists call an external locus of control. They believe everything that happens to them is someone else's fault. Dr. Peter Gray, a researcher at Boston College, found that this pattern creates what he calls learned helplessness in adults. They literally become unable to solve their own problems because they never practiced doing it. It's like a muscle that never got developed. But here's some hope. People can grow up, even later in life. The brain has something called neuroplasticity, which means it can literally rewire itself with practice. Adults who commit to emotional growth can develop mature coping skills, even if they're starting at 40 or 50. The first step is awareness. You have to recognize that chronological age and emotional age aren't the same thing. A truly mature adult takes responsibility for their actions, handles criticism without falling apart, makes decisions based on long-term consequences rather than immediate gratification, and manages their emotions without making it everyone else's problem. Real maturity means you can disagree with someone without having a meltdown. You can receive feedback and actually use it to improve. You can handle disappointment without blaming the whole world. You can take care of your own basic needs without expecting other people to parent you. The difference between a mature adult and an emotional child isn't about being serious all the time. Mature people can be playful, fun, and spontaneous, but they can also be responsible when it matters. They've learned when it's appropriate to be silly and when it's time to handle business. The first step is awareness. You have to recognize that chronological age and emotional age aren't the same thing. A truly mature adult takes responsibility for their actions, handles criticism without falling apart, makes decisions based on long-term consequences rather than immediate gratification, and manages their emotions without making it everyone else's problem. Real maturity means you can disagree with someone without having a meltdown. You can receive feedback and actually use it to improve. You can handle disappointment without blaming the whole world. You can take care of your own basic needs without expecting other people to parent you. The difference between a mature adult and an emotional child isn't about being serious all the time. Mature people can be playful, fun, and spontaneous, but they can also be responsible when it matters. They've learned when it's appropriate to be silly and when it's time to handle business. The first step is awareness. You have to recognize that chronological age and emotional age aren't the same thing. A truly mature adult takes responsibility for their actions, handles criticism without falling apart, makes decisions based on long-term consequences rather than immediate gratification, and manages their emotions without making it everyone else's problem. Real maturity means you can disagree with someone without having a meltdown. You can receive feedback and actually use it to improve. You can handle disappointment without blaming the whole world. You can take care of your own basic needs without expecting other people to parent you. The difference between a mature adult and an emotional child isn't about being serious all the time. Mature people can be playful, fun, and spontaneous, but they can also be responsible when it matters. They've learned when it's appropriate to be silly and when it's time to handle business. If you're wondering whether you might be one of these forever children, ask yourself some honest questions. When something goes wrong, is your first instinct to blame someone else? Do you expect other people to manage your emotions for you? Do you avoid difficult conversations or responsibilities? Do you make decisions based on what feels good right now rather than what's best long term? The good news is that emotional growth is possible at any age. It just requires honesty, effort, and usually some uncomfortable self-reflection. Many people benefit from therapy, but you can also start by simply taking responsibility for your own reactions and decisions. Growing up doesn't mean losing your sense of fun or wonder. It means developing the emotional tools to handle life's challenges without falling apart or expecting someone else to rescue you. It means becoming someone others can depend on, not someone who always needs to be taken care of. The adults who never grow up aren't just hurting themselves, they're exhausting their friends, family, and co-workers. They create drama, avoid responsibility, and make everyone around them walk on eggshells. Breaking this pattern isn't just good for them, it's good for everyone in their lives. So the next time you meet a 40-year-old who acts like a teenager, remember that age is just a number. Real maturity is a choice that some people simply never make. If this opened your eyes to emotional maturity, you need to watch my next video about the signs you're dating someone who never grew up.